something about a knife that just gets to the bottom of a situation, puts that whole problem on hold, you know, stops everything from continuing on. And personally, there's some situations that actually can't be solved without a knife. We're gonna talk about some of that right now.
Haha, Dom the best. Finna be this way till I EOS. Take it how you want, nigga. Yeah, I'm a pro. Fuck around and bust your lot while you're at Vizzo. I hate to be this way, but I live for the moment. Waking up every day, show me an opponent. Shanks on deck, hitting bitch you with locks. So much pool, I can even start you from the box. You don't wanna pay rent, got me bent. Got lax on deck, your money was well spent. Vultures on the prowl, so don't try testing. Step 2 comes violent, first steps finessing. You a hold down man, suitcase this. My cell phone, I'm a charger, don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see you ass, you gon' leave airlifted.
What's up, y'all? You already know, man. KFROG TV back in the building. Y'all go ahead and do me that solid favor. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Today I'm finna be dropping another video talking about nothing but realSpill. I know I ain't posted in a couple days, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes, you know, I gotta wait it out. You know, make people wait. You feel me? Just because I know y'all wait for that bang, that banger. You feel me? But anyways, today I'm gonna be talking about how it is when some situations take place inside a prison that cannot be solved without a knife. Now, I know when you sit there and you think about it, you look at it like not every situation can be that serious, right? Well, let's put it this way. Not every situation is serious to where you need a knife, right? But in prison, there's people using knives in situations that are not even that serious. You see? So, therefore, you might think it ain't that serious. Just let it go. Sweep it under the rug. Let bygones be bygones. We ain't really worried about it. It ain't that big of a deal. Right? But the person on the other side might beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? You might look at it like, damn, bruh bumped me kind of hard when he walked by me in the chow hall line. You feel me? I'm gonna go grab my knife and stab him. On the other hand, that dude might be like, excuse me, bro, don't even feel like he did nothing. You see? So when you find yourself in a situation, you're better off getting caught with it than without it. You see what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of knuckleheads inside of prison. And what comes with knuckleheads is drama. Drama more severe than it actually needs to be. You understand? You and somebody can get in a one-on-one, mano-y-mano fist fight, toe-to-toe. And it could be a fight to where nobody won. You whooped his ass a little bit, he whooped your ass a little bit. Right? Even if that individual you fought accepts that it's a dead situation, y'all, you know, dead the whole situation in total where there's no more problems amongst y'all, somebody else might feel like going and getting a knife and stabbing you just for the fact that you fought somebody they were cool with. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that be the case. So it's kind of like you're forced to use a knife even if it isn't that serious of a situation. You know, like I can only recall one situation that I felt like I should have used a knife in that I didn't use a knife in. You know, that I feel like when I sit back and I think about it, it's like, damn, maybe I should have poked them up. Maybe I should have just stabbed the shit out of them. It was like a situation to where like I had no choice, you know, but to take it out on an individual, I feel like, even though they had nothing to do with it in particular, all right? And I'll tell y'all a little bit about it, but while I was in prison, my little brother, which y'all know I done did videos on him before and stuff like that. My little brother actually got jumped in my neighborhood, right? Had nothing to do with prison. He got jumped in my neighborhood by a clique of people that called themselves the Dirty White Boys. Okay? While I was in prison, on my cell phone, I called one day, you know, chopping it up, hanging out, talking to my little brother. Next time I called, his fucking head was like a watermelon. He was all banged up everywhere, bruises, like eyes swelled shut. You know, he got caught, you know, slipping. You know, they beat him up somewhere. I said, damn, bro, what the fuck, bro? What happened to your face? Who did, you know? When he told me, oh, man, I got into it with this little biker gang, you know, called the Dirty White Boys. Which I know a bunch of them, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. But when he told me that, I said, what? He's like, yeah. And due to the fact that I was in prison, you know, I wasn't able to, you know, be there, defend them, you know, because you know how it is. Right or wrong, there's certain people you're riding for. And he happened to be one of those. I don't give a damn if he was wrong. That's my little brother. Feel me? So we had somebody in my dorm, and I spoke on this before, I think, that actually had DWB tatted on. You know, like Dirty White Boy. You feel me? So, as soon as I got off the phone, I decided to go get a lock and fire that person up. He had nothing to do with what took place. You know, he had nothing to do, didn't even know where it came from, and me and him were actually kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? We chopped it up and shit. We were actually cellmates in the box before and everything, you know, but it just so happened that as I'm getting this fucking bad news about this shit that took place on the streets and I can't do nothing about it, we have one that don't even know the people, you know, that did it, but he's a part of the same group. So I took it out on him. I got my lock, walked up to him. He was sitting there reading on his bunk, and I went right by him, came right around the other side, like in his, like the person that lived behind him's bunk's cut, and he was sitting right there, and I just caught back and fired that boy. I hit him as hard as I could with that lock, then ran around and started patching him with it, started beating his ass with it. You see what I'm saying? And I needed to do that, I felt like. You know, really I had the choice of doing it or not, but it was kind of like I couldn't hold my anger in about the situation. Like, okay, your kind did this to one of mine, you feel me? So it's only right, you know what I'm saying? You're in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And people in the dorm were looking at me like, what the fuck's Frog got going on? You know, like, because I'm a money maker, so I have a lot of things going on at once. And normally, you know, I'll try to, like, be 5, 6 steps ahead, you know what I'm saying? Play chess, not checkers. So it's kind of like, I ain't got to risk myself getting put in confinement, you know, and getting in trouble and getting my phones knocked off or, you know, taking a loss or them doing shakedowns, finding things that I have money, you know, movements going on about. You feel me? So normally I'll sit back and observe and shit, and if it ain't nothing that serious to where I got to get involved myself, I'll just straight up drop a bag on you and let someone else go take care of it. You see what I'm saying? But this here, I felt like it was so close to me that I had to do something. And when I look back at it, it's like, damn, was I wrong for firing that person up? Yeah, I was. Because he didn't know why it happened. He don't know where it came from. Like he knew I did it, but he didn't know where it came from, like as far as the meaning behind the situation. I felt bad about it at the time when I did that, you know, because he was a cool dude and everything. But later on, I felt like I should have did more than fired him up. See what I'm saying? I felt like I should have wet him. I felt like I wanted to have been thinking about the situation still later on if I would have used a knife, because then that would have solved it to me. But I felt like since all I did was fire him up with a lock, you know, even though he had nothing to do with it, but he did have them stamped on him, he was a part of them, I felt like if I would have did it with a knife in the first place, I wouldn't have even been thinking about it. So I felt like the reason I was thinking about it is because I didn't use my knife to solve the issue. That's what it was. If I would have just stabbed him, then I wouldn't even have been caring about the whole situation anymore. I would have just been like, it is what it is, you feel me? And my little brother, it ain't like I ran and told him, hey bro, I just fired one up in here, blah, 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 or anything like that. I just did what I needed to do, got that boy up out of our dorm and swept it under the rug. You see what I'm saying? Now, in my prison at that time, they didn't have a clique of them or a gang of them walking around mobbing the pound, because other gangs wouldn't allow it. You feel me? Like real gangs wouldn't allow that, you know? So it was kind of like he didn't have backup or anything like that. It was just he had it tatted on him, and he told me what he was before when we was in the box and shit like that, you know, when he was my bunkie once upon a time. And it just so happened when I'm, like I said, looking at my brother and he's telling me who did this shit, you know, it just so happens I'm looking around the dorm like trying to, you know, let some steam off and shit about the situation because I can't do nothing from in here. And I happen to see him and I'm like, you know what? I got something for him. See, that was a situation that I felt like I should have used a knife. Now, Another situation that took place was with one of my homeboys. And this just shows that some situations cannot be solved without a knife. Now, for those that are in gangs, for the gang members that are watching this video and shit like that, if you've never been to prison and you only been banging on the streets, or if you've been to prison while banging, then you know what I'm about to say is 100% truth. A lot of times gangs tie flags, right? Which means that they come to like a truce and they kind of like lock in with each other. Kind of like how, you know, the U.S. and foreign countries, they got different allies that they kind of like lock with. And if war breaks out, or if another person that they're not allies with attacks them, they're going to rise and rock with them. You know, stuff like that. So a lot of camps that you go to, you're going to see different gangs that are cool with different gangs. But it swaps, which means, for instance, you might go to a camp and the Kings and the Bloods might be like this because they're both up under the 5. So they'll probably, you know, you feel like they rock with each other. They shake up when they see each other, 5 love and all that shit. But you might go to another camp and they might be at war with each other. So a lot of times when things happen, you know, you're either like forced to push it to the side, like forced to not even deal with the situation anymore due to the fact that your gang came to some type of truce and put a peace at war with that gang. But I had a homeboy of mine that I was actually in the county jail with, and I ran into him later on in prison. And when I seen him and shit, you know, we're in there vibing, we're laughing and shit, bitch. I'm happy to see somebody that's from down my way, you know. So when I see him and we're talking, we're chopping it up, he was asking me a lot of questions about a gang. So, by me being who I am, you know, and feeding off the little bit of information from the conversation that me and him are having, you know, I'm kind of like leaning towards thinking he's a part of that gang, because he was like, oh, how deep is the such and such right now? You feel me? Like, is there any in this dorm? You feel me? Are any, like, how many's in each dorm, or what's their numbers? Are they at war with anybody right now? And, you know, he was asking me questions to where, like, I felt like he was affiliated with that gang. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm like, all right, he just wants to know about his brothers before he decides to go see and check in with them all and let them know he's there and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm like, oh yeah, blah, 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 nah, I don't think, I don't think they're at war with anybody right now, or yeah, they're at war with whoever, like whatever the scene may be at the time. I'm telling him it and he's feeding off the information. So when I'm thinking that he's actually a part of that gang, I was wrong. What it was is, he was a part of another gang that was at war with that gang at another institution. This wasn't his first camp. So where he went, for instance, say he was a Crip, he was asking me about the Bloods heavily, real heavily about the Bloods, you know, and then I'm thinking, oh yeah, you know, blah, 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 yeah, there's that many, oh no, they're not at war right now, or yeah, they are at war with the Zos right now, or the GDs, they're at war with the GDs, thinking that he was a, you know, affiliated with them, but in all reality, he was on the other side. So the camp he came from had just went to war and been at war with that same gang he was asking me about. You feel me? But at this institution that he's at now, where I'm at, there's a truce. They're not at war. You see? So that means at his last camp, that was in-house beef. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't institutional beef. Institutional beef means that shit's everywhere. It's going through all compounds know about it. You feel me? Everybody's sticking together. Like if the Zos decide to take off on the Cutthroats, and there's a word travels from camp to camp, then all the Zos will rise against the Cutthroats, which is a gang we have down here in Florida. That's from Jacksonville. But they, you know, like, and then it'll be institutional beef. All these institutions will be going through the same beef. You know what I'm saying? But when it's in-house, it's just one institution. So now that he landed there, and he was asking me questions about that gang, he wanted to know, and then he found out that they were cool with his brothers, but there's a peace at this institution, they never had war. He decided to go grab a knife and run up on one of them like one that had nothing to do with anything, but was actually just affiliated with the same gang he was going to war with at his last camp. He decided to run up on him with a knife and stab him up on the rec yard. You see? And when that happened, everybody's looking at it like, oh shit, now the such and such and such and such are at war. When really, you know, they're looking at it, his own brothers are looking at it like, you just caused a war with us. You know, so 9 times out of 10, they'll fall back from helping their own brother. Like, you just caused a war. You feel me? You just started a war with us from our gang and their gang. Now it's bumping heads because of what you just did. We didn't have no problems. But what it was in my dog's mind, in his head, from where he just came from, that shit was still, you know, stir crazy inside of his head. Because you think about it. If you're at this institution and you're part of a gang, and you and 3 of your closest homeboys are all the same gang, that's 4 of y'all. Y'all are going through it with another gang. 2 of your homeboys, out of you 4, 2 of your homeboys get airlifted. About killed. About died from this gang stabbing them up. You know, and in the middle of the whole problems and situations and stuff, you know, you get transferred later on, you land in another camp, you're going to always have that hatred in you towards that gang because of what they did to your homeboys, to your brothers. You feel me? And sometimes when you go to a new institution, you know, your brothers are cool with that gang, even though they had nothing to do with it, them particular people, but the beef still follows you when you're a gang member. You see what I'm saying? Not just when it comes to like inmate beef, but as far as like committing crimes as well. Like, you see how celebrities and different people get arrested and taken in and shit from things that a gang they're claiming to be a part of done did. You see, it's kind of like, you know, they do the racketeering. They rally everybody up that's a part of that gang. They take it out on everybody that's a part of that organization. Same thing when it comes to beef inside a prison. You feel me? So everybody at that camp that was even my dog's like brothers of his gang looked at him like he was wrong because he started a war. Me, on the other hand, when I find out the whole thing, I look at it like he ain't wrong because he's taking it out on someone that did something to his brothers. That's all he knows. If you're at a prison for 2 years and you're going to war, stabbing each other back and forth, my squad against your squad, and then I get transferred somewhere else and I see my brothers are eating fucking goulash with them, you know, I can't function that right away. There's no way I could just, and just go over there, where's my bowl at? And like, I'm going to have a part of hatred in me as well. And that's what he did. So even though he got to a new institution and there was no problem with that gang, he felt like a knife was the only way that could solve that problem. You see what I'm saying? And it be like that sometimes, you know, because if it's the other way around, 9 times out of 10, you'll feel like if it was on their side of the situation, you know they would have came with a knife. They would have popped it off. They wouldn't have cared and broke the fucking alliance between the 2 gangs. They would have been the ones to start the war. But then when it's like when you do it or someone on your party does it, it seems like it's wrong, right? But really it's not. You see what I'm saying? And prison's one of those places, y'all, like I be saying, you never know when you might need your knife. Like, it could be something so simple. Somebody can mistake you for somebody else and run up to you and stab you. You could come to an institution, you ain't even got to be from that state. Say you weren't from Florida, you were from Tennessee or Indiana or Oklahoma or something, and you drove down here and caught a charge and got arrested, and they kept you in the county jail because you're flight risk, because you're not from here. So they're going to keep you in here. They're not going to give you no bond. And the next thing you know, they send you to Florida prison. You land in Florida prison. You don't know nobody in Florida, just the people you meet along the way of your journey. You land at an institution. Somebody might see you. Now that you got your head shaved, you know, you look normal to you. But to people that are from down here, you know, we might think you're somebody else because you got your head shaved. We might be like, oh, that's that dude from what's it called, bro? Oh, I seen him at another camp. You see what I'm saying? And people will think you look familiar. In all reality, you don't. You know, and they'll mistake you for someone else And you could just be somebody that's not even from Florida, just be doing your time, and someone will come try to attack you and stab you, mistake you for someone else. And I'm pretty sure it happens in other states as well. But the whole meaning is, a knife is dangerous. Everybody knows that. Knives are dangerous. And what blows my mind and what is reality is the fact that something so dangerous is recommended. Okay? It's literally recommended. Like I said, you rather get caught with it than without it. Because it isn't like someone's just going to just hit you one time and keep it moving. You're lucky if they do that. But the things I've seen, they don't just and keep it moving. They try to get on you and switch hands, pam, 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 pam. Like literally. So by the time the guards intervene and break it up after 60 seconds or whatever, however long it takes for the guards to break it all up, you got about 56 holes in you. Like a piece of Swiss cheese, dog. You see, like this is the type of things that happen. So a lot of situations that aren't even serious, people run straight to the knife and feel like that's what's going to put an end to it, is this knife. I'm going to stab them and get rid of them. It's like communicating and coming to an agreement doesn't last. It's like both parties agreeing and both parties not doing no snake shit and trying to stab you when you least expect it. Because, you know, like I said, it's chess, not checkers. So a lot of people will, like, look you in your eyes and shit, and they'll talk straight to you, like man to man, and tell you it's a dead situation. Bye, 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 you know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be going through this, yada, yada, yada. And the next thing you know, yeah, I need you to send that to such and such. Ba, 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 ba. Hey, handle that. See? And then that same person that just took your word for it is getting hit. You see? So there's a lot of grimy shit inside of prison. You feel me? So like everybody's like walking on eggshells, you know? So it's at the end of the day, nobody wants to be the one that's getting snaked or getting got, so they do it first. They might not even look at it like a serious situation, you know? Like when it comes to sending someone to stab you up or putting a hit on you, it's so common that when people talk about it, it don't seem like a serious situation. Like, yeah, it's alright, bro. You know, we ain't got nothing to worry about, bro. Yeah, bro, I fuck with you too, dog. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm just glad, you feel me, we can come to an understanding. Yeah, bro, get that man off the pound. And go over there and start eating watching TV and shit, eating their goulash like it ain't nothing. They know they just sent a hit on someone. Sending the hits ain't nothing. You see, that's what it is. Like, they'll never even think about it. No sympathy in their eyes after the situation. None of that. That's how it goes. So a lot of situations that should just be swept under the rug to prevent more problems later on, you know, don't. It won't be solved without a knife. And then you got it to where, since I don't want to get stabbed by you, so I put the hit on you first, even though I just lied to your face and told you everything gravy. I put that hit on you first, you get wet up. Word travels. People are going to know that I put the hit on you, or I got you hit. Oh, he was beefing with Frog, now he got hit. So now, any situation you get into from there on, since people know you'll send a hit, and people know that, you know, you will literally get somebody taken off the pound, they're going to want to get you first. So now it's like your next situation is going to be harsher than the last one. And then the one after that's going to be harsher than that one. And then the one after that's going to be harsher than that one. It's like you're digging a deeper and deeper hole. You feel me? Because the first situation you get into and y'all come to an agreement, and then bam, you get him smacked, everyone looks at it like, oh, Frog ain't no dummy, you see? Frog took that boy out before he took Frog out. You see what I'm saying? Finessed him in his face and then got him got. So now, later on, you know, when it comes to a situation, they're going to try to be like, oh, well, you remember last time Frog had got bruh, you know, taken out off rip, so bruh might try to get Frog first this time. You see, that's how it goes. It's like somebody that brags that they got, you know, a gun on them, or you see somebody that has a gun on them all the time, or they talk about guns all the time. For anyone who's going to run down on that individual, whether they got a gun or not, they're going to want to shoot first because all they know is to think that person has a gun. Same thing in prison. If someone you know is known to stab people, You known to see him with knives, or he gets caught, goes to confinement, gets caught with knives, or you see him, you know, walking across the compound with that thing on his hip. You get in a confrontation with him, you're going to want to stab him first because you're going to think he's going to stab you because he's known to have knives. You see? So it's kind of like the littlest situation, people are going to use knives just off of who you are. They're going to think you're going to stab them, and they're going to stab you. That's why a lot of situations cannot be solved without a knife. Even fighting isn't enough. Jumping someone isn't enough. Like, deading the situation. Yeah, bro, you feel me? I'm glad we put this shit behind us. That isn't enough. Getting transferred behind a situation isn't enough. Making that person check in and him PC up and get put in protective custody and get transferred is not even enough. Because you could send word to whatever camp he goes to and get him touched. You see, that's the thing. So I wanted to do this video to let y'all know that a lot of situations that take place cannot be solved without a knife. You know, and it's just mind-blowing because, like I said in the beginning of the video, you would think it ain't that serious to use a knife. But people are using knives in non-serious situations. It's like the knife is the go-to. Straight up. Like, in Call of Duty, everybody got their favorite loadout they like to go to and run with. In prison, that knife is part of people's loadout. That's one of those things, like, they gonna have that bitch. And if not, they gonna have it mighty close, or able to get access to it. There's no way you're not gonna be able to get to something sharp enough to break skin. That's just what it is, y'all. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video on up. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man, to another premiere about this realSpill. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody has a good old Thanksgiving that's coming up. Hope everybody's had a last good weekend. Shit like that. Y'all stay tuned, man. Make sure y'all catch the next one. And like I always say, make sure you keep them rats, squares, clowns, chomos, pedos, gunners, wannabe island boys, clout chasers, lying-ass motherfuckers. Keep them all out your circle, man. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, you all you got. For real. I'm telling you. And by the time it all comes out, you're going to realize you're the only one that kept that shit thorough. You're the only one that kept it solid. For real. The apple don't fall too far from the tree. So just make sure your ass shat-tang cuts the whole tree down. So that way there ain't no ifs, ands, or buts, or ain't no mistaking or confusion when it comes to the people in your life that should be there and that shouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? Let everybody around you break and remain solid through it all. That's what it is. But alright, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching. Like I said, till next time, it's the one and only. I am my team, Frog.